that also mentioning here the number of transistors. Okay, and how these transistors are working, it is I mean how the digital circuits functioning is need a power. What is that power? It is nothing but like a voltage. These voltage, this power, you can represent in different way, either low, high, 0, 1, on, off, sometimes as a symbols, that's called the binary digit or bits. Then these bits are like you are representing as a string, a collection of bits becoming like a kind of strings, like number of zeros and number of ones. Okay, so that's why you are saying that it is a string. And you see that the microcomputer system, or you can particularly say the IBM PC, basically consisting these three devices: functional computer circuits, central processing unit, memory circuit, and the IO circuit. And here just you are showing that how CPU is, or the microprocessor is placed on the motherboard. That is, you can also consider as a system board. I believe students, you are listening to me. Students, you are listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, I
Yes,
can
sir.
see almost every student you are connected. Thank you. So for 46 students you are connecting with this session. Yes, so still those who you connected later, for them that I'm just taking a minute for recapping the previous session. Okay, so system board and motherboard, you already know about this, and I had the discussion on that in the previous day. After that, we also discussed about the memory system. You know, what is the main purpose of the memory, and what is like how the bits are, you see how the what actually you are storing into the memory. And the bit, as we considered like a data, and the bit you are saying that like it's a smallest unit of a data that you are considering as a bit, right? And you know, each and every bit you are not only storing into the memory, but in the memory you can also store a string as well. That means 8 bits, like in a byte, or sometimes in a word. It depends on the architecture of the computer system. Okay, so look at this: a string of 8 bits is called a byte, and memory byte is a number that is called the address. So these are the 2 points. Last 2 points you have to understand very carefully. As I told you in the previous day, memory byte is identified by a number. Whatever memory you have, you are just addressing it as like a 1, 2, 3. That means each and every memory should have the address. Do not forget it. I'm repeating it again for all of my students. If it is a memory, guys, could you please put the microphone mute? Okay. If it is a memory, I mean, if it is a memory, definitely you have to recall the address. So each and every memory byte should be identified by a number, and that is called the address. So that means you can identify, you can locate a memory by its address. You can just address a memory by giving you the address number. Okay, and data stored in a memory byte are called its content. So what you are going to store in a particular address, that is known as a content. Okay, I believe yes, up to this slide we we covered up to the we covered in the last session, right? Am I right, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, now you see with the previous concept, like you can see we have the memory byte here. The contents are storing into the memory byte, and you can see the length of the memory byte is 8 bits. That means it is a string. Can you see the pointer, guys? I'm moving the pointer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So
Yes,
this is
sir.
the length of the memory byte, and this is the address. So we need this information in order to calculate the total size of the memory. That we will see how we can calculate this memory size. Like we also worked on this. That means by this we are understanding. By this text we are understanding that how a computer can understand how much memory is available in this computer, right? How? You see, look at here, the number of bits used in the address. This is our address, number of bits. How many bits we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 7 bits here. And we can have up to the n bits, right? So these number of bits that we are using in address determine or calculates the number of bytes that can be accessed by the processor. So using this one, using the total number of bits in the address, you can simply, your computer can simply calculate how big memory size you have in your computer, or how much memory can be accessed by the processor. Is that clear, guys, to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now look at this. This is an example. Suppose you see, suppose a processor uses 20 bits for an address. How many memory bytes can be accessed? I believe we also practiced this one in the previous day.
Yes, sir.
Can you
Yes,
help
sir.
me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, because we know that we are calculating the total number of bits, and you see, look at this. Those who you missed the last class, for them, again, I think this is another time I have to repeat. As I told you in the first lecture, that please do not miss that class. If you are missing the class, this sort of technical things, logical things, you will miss, and that will create another problem for the next lecture as well. Okay, so these 20 bits, you see, they are saying that it has 20 bits address there, can be 2 power 20. Like we know, it has the two pictures, and every bits either it can be 2, 0 and 1, right? That's why according to the theory of the binary binary number, is 2 power 20. You have the total number of this, right? And from this value you can represent in the unit of a memory, and that's why you were saying that it is 2 power 20 is called a 1 mega, right? And I believe you understand how we are coming to the mega, right? So 1024 kilobyte equal to 1 megabyte, right? Okay, so thus you have the address. You can calculate the address like 1 megabyte or 1 MB. So similar sort of example we also considered in the previous day. Like a processor uses 10 bits for an address. 10 bits. That means what would be the calculation? 2 power 10, right? And that would be 1024 bits, right? And that one you can represent as a unit. If you are dividing by 1024, then you are getting 1 kilobyte, right? So that is the simple, very simple calculation that we have done. So what is the intention? This kind of calculation is using by what? Using by your computer, using by your microprocessor. Simply your microprocessor can understand, okay, the address bits are like 50, then simply microprocessor calculate 2 power 50, and then microprocessor can understand, okay, this much of memory I can access if I need to access, if I need to use it. Does it make sense? So this is the concept. Please do not forget. Okay, it will really helpful for understanding the next lecture. Are you listening, guys?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
All
sir.
right. So this is the way how you can calculate the simply the calculation. Yeah. Yeah. Someone, you are trying to say something? Anyone? Do you have any questions?
Sir, can you repeat it, the last line?
Last line. Yes. Yes.
Last
You
thing,
see. Yeah.
no, the last thing you said.
Last. Sorry, I missed your voice. Last.
Last thing you said. No.
Yes. Can you repeat? Sorry, I missed your voice.
Sir, can you repeat the last thing you said?
Last. You mean the last 1 meg? How the 1 megabyte is coming or kilobyte is coming?
No, sir. The importance you said about
Importance?
It's okay, sir. No problem.
No. Tell me. I sorry. I'm not getting your point.
So
Yeah.
the last line, the last thing you said, I couldn't get it because there was sound. So I was thinking if you could repeat it.
Last sentence that I
Yes,
said.
yes.
Okay, all right. Last sentence I said that this is the way I'm just showing you that to make you understandable that how your microprocessor, your computer's microprocessor calculate the total size of the memory that's available in a computer. Okay. Say for example, computer can microprocessor simply can understand okay how many total number of bits using in the address. So using that total number of bits like 20 or 10 or whatever, say it has the 40 bits, then you are just 40 total number of bits 40 in address, and then computer microprocessor will calculate 2 power 40 equal that's many bits, right? And that's many bits are processing representing as a unit like in megabyte or kilobyte or terabyte like this. That was my last sentence.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, one question, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Sir, 2 to power 10 equal 1024 bits. I cannot clear this point, sir. This is
Yeah,
the
if
value
you
of 2 to power 10 or
yes, it is the value of the 2 to power 10. Do you know what is the meaning of 2 power 10? You know how to simplify this one, right? You are multiplying 10 twos and then you are getting 20. Yes, 2 times 10 times 2, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 unless until it is 10. Okay, 10 times you are multiplying that 2.
yes,
Is
sir.
that clear? Okay, and then you are just simplifying. Why you are dividing it 1024? Because you want to find the kilobyte, right? That is the thing. Okay.
Okay,
All right. So now we will see the position. You see, now how the bits are aligning or placing into the memory. We know that inside the memory there is a content, right? You see that as I said, that if it is a memory, immediately you have to think about the address will come with the memory, right? Each and every memory address is located with the unique memory address. Okay, say if you have the computer can identify that which memory you are accessing. The which microprocessor simply can understand or identify from which memory location a computer getting the data and storing the data. Okay, so now the question is how the bit positions, how if, the bit positions are using by the memory. Okay, you see the bit position represent in a microcomputer as a word or as a byte. Try to understand. I think the word is maybe a new word to many students, or it can be familiar. Word. Do you know how many bits in a word?
Yes, sir. 8 bits.
Wrong.
16 bit, 16 bit.
Yes. Those who you are saying that 16-bit, you are right. Those who you are saying that words contain 8 bits, it is wrong. So, but I want to tell you, those who are saying 16-bit, this is also can be wrong because there is a no precise bit length for the word. Maybe 32 bits can have in one word. It's depend. Like those who you are, you have already taken computer architecture and organization with me. Anyone, did you take the computer organization and architecture course? Yes, by the circle. Maybe then you can understand. Even in this course, you can understand sometimes that they are saying we are getting in the maybe next lectures that word doesn't have any fixed length. It depend on the architect of a processor, microprocessor. Okay, but usually, normally, we can consider 2 bytes equal 1 word. What does it mean? That means 16 bits equal 1 word, and byte is It's very clear to all of us, right? 60, I mean the 8 bits equal
1
8
byte.
bits equal 1 byte. Absolutely right. So now the question is, bit position represented a microcomputer as a word or as a byte. So what we can say, that means this is a unit of data representation that's available in a memory. So data representation unit, we can say that it is either byte or word. Is that clear?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, now they are saying little more about this bit position. You see, bit positions are numbered from the right side, not from the left side, and it is always starting. So in the address, I mean in the memory, bit positions always start with the 0. Okay, so you have to, and it's starting from the right side. So like 0, 1, 2 till the end. Okay, so if it is number 10, if you have 10, then the maximum will be 9 because you are starting from the 0, right? So you say, look at the last bullet point. In a word, 0 to 7 form as low byte, and from 8 to 15 form as a high byte. So word contain 2 bytes, right? From the rightmost byte, you are considering as a low byte. Look at the picture. The rightmost byte, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 7, you are considering as a low byte or high byte?
Low byte. Low byte.
Low,
Absolutely right.
low
Okay,
byte.
and from 8 to 15, it is,
High byte.
High byte.
please do not forget it, because next when we are going to see the register, okay, in the register, you see, we will have 9 register, general registers. So all these 9 register length will be like this in a byte. So every register will have 2 byte, low byte and
High byte.
so don't be confused if you are looking like AL or AH. AL means lower byte of accumulator register, and AH means higher byte of the accumulator register. Is that okay? So please try to recall this concept when we are learning that registers in the next step. Okay, I'm just telling you at the very beginning. Now tell me, how many beats in one word?
Sir, you said that one. Sir, I have a question, sir.
Yes, please. Yes.
Sir, you said that one word contains 32 bits, so it
Yes.
should be 4 byte. But why 2 byte?
I said
This
it
example.
is. It could be. Yes. That's the things. So if it is the 32-bit, then first 16-bit, you will consider the low byte, and then the next 16-bit you will consider the high byte, right? Or there will be some other architecture. As I said, is depending on the architect of the microprocessor, that how you are going to design your microprocessor, how you are designing the logical aspect of your system. Does it make sense? So it will be more clear. But just as I said, that the length of the word, it can be vary, but generally not less than 16, right? Not less than 16 bit. Is that clear? Did you get the answer, Mr.?
Yes, sir. Sir, I got. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
all right. Yes, the next student.
Only.
Yeah. Anyone, do you want to ask the question? Yeah.
Yes, sir. So I'm Tony, sir. In this picture, I can understand that what bit position, but sir, byte bit position they have 0 to 7, sir. I can't understand actually in this
Yes,
picture.
if it is say, if the memory is working with the byte, then how many bits in one byte?
8.
How many bits?
8 bit.
8 bits,
bit.
sir.
And in the text, we know that always the byte, I mean the bit positions are starting with the 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many altogether?
8.
8.
8 bits. So if the microprocessor works with the byte unit, if the data is represented as a byte, then definitely you have to consider byte bit position like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So please make things clear. Unless you have any other query, then I'm just going to the next slide. Then is it okay to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How many students you are connected? I saw 46 earlier. Now it is 42. Two students disconnected maybe. 45. One is disconnected. Okay. Now it is about the the still we are in the memory, like we saw the how the content or data represent in the memory. Now what are the functions for the actually that is done by the microprocessor? You see the memory operations. There are two types of, you see, the is that every processor can perform two operations on memory, two basic operations on memory. One is the read, another one is write. So read, sometimes in the context of computer science and engineering, you are representing as a phase. When a microprocessor facing some data from some particular address in a memory, that means it is facing. Okay. When a microprocessor retrieving the data from a particular address in a location, memory location, then it's facing the data, right? So to face the data, we will see how many steps are in the phase. Okay. So who's look at this. Processor can perform two operations on memory. So if on the memory, there will be two operations that will done by the processor. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
And what
Yes,
are
sir.
these two operations? One is the read.
Read
You
and
can
other one is
simply, yes. Read means what? Read means you are retrieving the data from a particular location in the memory, or microprocessor getting the data from a particular address. You see, look at this. The content of a location, processor get a copy of that data. That means you are just getting the copy, or you are retrieving the data from the location. And for the write, that means you are trying to write, you are trying to store some data in a particular location into the memory. Data at a location. You are writing means you are storing the new data at a location. Okay. The new content of the locations, that is the write. So these are the two basic operations performed by the processor on the memory. Okay. And there are two kinds of memory circuits. Two kinds of memory circuit. One is the RAM, another one is the ROM. So what is the full form of the RAM?
Read access memory.
Random access, random access
Random
memory.
access memory,
Yes, sir.
read-only memory.
Yes. I have to accept your answer. Unfortunately, I have also listened that you are saying read, but it's not read. It's actually random access memory. But may I ask you the next questions? Why you are based on this logic?
Randomly.
Yes, it
Because
is
it's a
random.
volatile memory.
RAM is a volatile memory. Very good. But my question is, why it is random?
because it's
How can you make things understandable?
Because it
because
can't
the
save any
RAM
memory. If you close the application, the memory will
data for certain time.
only
RAM store memory for
when you run the
two
application,
amounts
that
of
time
time.
RAM will work. But when you close the application, RAM will, deleted
Yes, you are
the
giving
information
that. You are giving
about
the
the
logic of the short-term memory or volatile memory.
It is volatile memory and it is temporary, sir.
Yes, it is volatile and it is temporary. That's your friend was telling. You're another fellow student. He was saying that okay, if you cannot store the data into the RAM because for the longer time, and if the power is lost, then you cannot get back the data from the RAM, right? I do accept, but why? Like that's represent the it is volatile and it is short-term memory, temporary memory, right? But my concept is which logic you will give me in order to make it understandable that random access memory.
Sir, we can read and write at the same time by using RAM, but we do not write in the ROM.
You can read and write at the
Sir, it's random because sir, it's a own
yes,
address line.
maybe
RAM has own address line.
yes, maybe random means not at the same time. Random means anytime.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
Yes, anytime you can have the access in the RAM. That means anytime you can read and you can write into the RAM. Is that clear? That's why you are saying random access memory. Anytime you can perform the read operation in a RAM, and anytime you can also perform the write operation with the RAM. Is that clear? The concept is clear? You see, locations can be read and written anytime, randomly. That is the perception. That is the understanding. And content of the RAM memory are lost when the machine is turned off. That's why you are saying it is short-term memory or volatile memory. So what is the another one? ROM, read only memory, right? Read only memory. We cannot access. We cannot write anything on the ROM. We can only read the information from the ROM. And location can only be read. You see, location in the memory, ROM memory, it can only be read. ROM retains their values even when the power is off. That means if it is ROM, you are getting back the data from the ROM even the power is off. Now my question is, can you give me an example of application of ROM where we can see the application of ROM?
Sir, in BIOS.
Sir, hard disk and certain drive.
Sir, in BIOS. In BIOS.
In BIOS.
Certain drive.
Yes, you are right if you are saying that in BIOS, but those who you are saying in hard disk and pen drive, things should be a little bit more clarification. You have to clarify that at which purpose you are saying that you are using the ROM when you are accessing the data from the hard disk. Do you think? What do you think? Hard disk is a primary storage device or secondary storage device?
Secondary storage device.
And RAM and ROM is primary storage device or secondary storage device?
Primary storage device.
Primary.
So whether we have to consider the secondary storage devices for the ROM or not?
No, sir. Primary storage is RAM.
But someone, you were saying the hard disk, right? I'm asking to application. The application of the ROM. So ROM is a primary device, primary memory, and hard disk is a secondary storage devices. So hard disk is the different issue. We will talk about the hard disk later on, right? In the different chapter. Okay, all right. So ROM, yes. Some of you already told me the BIOS. Yes. You told me the BIOS. I do accept. Can you simplify this one? How the BIOS is working?
So it holds application information, computer manufacturer information and startup in.
Absolutely right. When you are booting your computer, you can see the informations are coming, right? So booting the configuration, basically the computer microprocessor is checking whether all the peripherals and necessary files, format, functions are working properly or not in a computer, right? So how these things are working? Like it's coming from the ROM. Like when you are just soon after turning on the power button of your computer, you see lots of informations are coming, text is coming, the booting information coming on the screen, right? It is coming from the ROM. It is from the primary memory, not from the secondary memory. Is that clear?
So can you please repeat it again?
I said when you are turning on the computer, soon after pressing on the power button, you can see the booting informations are coming on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
These booting information, actually, it is like we are saying the BIOS information, basic input output information. So this basic input output information, basically, you are considering like coming from the primary memory, that is from the ROM. It's not coming from the secondary memory, from the hard disk or from any other thing. Is that clear
Yes,
to
sir.
everyone?
So register and cache, what kind of memory?
Register,
And cache memory, what kind of? It's primary.
registers and cache. Registers you can see in the like you will see that sometimes we are considering into the RAM, right? So you will see register is a kind of a memory, but it is also a short-term memory. If it is a short-term memory, then where should be the location for the register? Definitely in the RAM, right? Okay, so even you see, we will see the difference between the registers and the other memory. Okay, so now what you are learning from this, that there are two kind of memory circuits. Here RAM and ROM. That means primary memory you are considering as a circuit. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
That should be very clear that we are considering. So ultimately, whatever we are using in a computer, this is nothing but like a combination of the circuits. And all these circuits basically work with the fuel, work with the power. From where that power is coming, like a voltage, either 0 or 1, or sometimes a symbol like 0 and 1. That is called as a bit. Is that clear? Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So can I move to the next slide now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now you can see the buses, the concept, another concept that also we need to. We saw the data, how data is representing in the memory as a unit, word and byte. Then we saw that how the circuits in a memory works, like RAM and ROM. And then you have to know how this memory is communicating with the other two major components with the computer system. Okay, when you have the microprocessor, how the memory is connected with the microprocessor system. That's what you need to know. So if you want to configure your memory systems, I mean the memory system with the computer. A computer means, here I'm always representing as a microprocessor system. Don't be confused. Okay, computer means always I'm representing here as a IBM PC in particularly. Okay, all right. So now you say now the memory should be connected with the processor or with the input output system, right? Sometimes we have to transfer the data, right? So how a memory system can be transferred data from source to the destination. Source means memory to the either to the processor or to the input output devices. You need some communication channel. You need some way, and this is known as buses. I believe many of you have seen the buses inside the computer. Have you seen the bus? How look like?
Yes.
This motherboard.
Bus is a motherboard, or it's
Connected
connected.
cable wire.
Yes, that's right.
Line.
Yeah, bus you can see it's on the motherboard.
Yes, sir.
Like say for example, from your hard disk to the motherboard, from your hard disk to the processor, right? So from the memory to the processor. Yes. So now you can see the bus, nothing but it's a set of wires or the connections. The bus you can consider as a connections or a set of connections or the wires, and that connect the different component, so you have to understand what are the different components you are considering here. Okay, all right. So there are three kind of buses. Look at the picture and also look at the address buses, and you can see the configuration or the layout of the address bus. Then you can see the data bus and you can see the control bus, and all together or the integration of these three bus, data bus, address bus and control bus, you are saying the system bus. So if I ask you what is called the system bus, you can simply say the combination of the data bus, address bus and control bus represent as a system bus. System bus means what? The bus system for your computer system, for your computer's the bus that you are using for your computer, right? So now look at the layout, the connections, as we learned from the definition, that it is a connections that's connecting the other devices of the computer system. The memory, look at the address bus here. The memory, it is also connected with the CPU. Then it is also connected with the input output devices, with the peripherals. Then control bus, it has the connection with the CPU, memory, and the I/O bus. The CPU, it has connection for the, the data bus is connected with the CPU, memory, and the I/O. So they all are interconnected. So as we know that a computer system, there are three major components: CPU, memory, and I/O. All these three components are interconnected with the system bus. That means with the address bus, data bus, and control bus. You see, address bus always responsible to transfer the address from one location to the another location. Or you can say address bus always transfer, or the responsible for transferring the address from one component or one device to the another device. And similarly, by the name of the data bus, you can understand data bus only responsible to transfer the data from component to the another component, or from source to the destination. And control bus will have the control on the address bus as well as data bus. So control bus basically check the status, whether it is ready for transferring the address, whether it is ready for transferring the data bus or not. Okay, so that sort of control can be done by the control bus. And all together, so address bus, control bus, and data bus, you are saying it is a system bus. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
the control bus, sir?
Basically. Yes. Control bus basically control the functions of the address bus and the data bus. So before, for example, I can tell you when a memory CPU is trying to get the access from the memory, or when CPU trying to access some data from the memory, control bus will check whether this address bus is free or not, or control bus will check whether the CPU need to wait this for a moment or for a seconds in order to make the line is free to get the address for a particular location. So control bus will always check the status, whether it is ready or not ready. So that sort of control will be done by the control bus.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions from this particular slide? So now you understand the purpose for this slide, right? Buses. Why? You should understand why we are just suddenly coming the buses concept, and when we are learning the memory. Definitely, we have seen that how memory works, and then this slide particularly tell us or teach us how memory is connecting with the other two devices of a computer system. Is that clear?
Sir, can you repeat the function of address bus and data bus, please?
Yes, as I said, the responsibilities or the function of address bus. The address, each and every port, each and every circuits. The computer basically works with the address. The CPU, if CPU wants to perform any instruction, if CPU wants to execute any instruction, CPU needs the address. Okay, CPU needs to trace the address first, then CPU can understand, okay, this is about the audio jack, this is about the video, this is about the data, this is about that, right? Without having an address, CPU cannot understand anything. CPU cannot perform any job. So that's why all the addresses are passing from one place to another place using the address bus. Okay. Similarly, data bus is only represent the data or the content from the one component to the another component. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So now we can move to the next slide, and this is another significant part of your microcomputer. So far we finished with the memory, right? Uh, Guys, we have already started maybe the second session, right? Do you need a break or you think it's okay?
Sir, today 1 hour class.
Yes, sir.
Today is
Today
one
is
hour
1
class.
hour class.
Is that?
Yes, sir. 215 to
Yes, sir.
315.
It's 1 hour
Yes,
or 2 hours?
1 hour,
1
sir.
1
hour.
hour, sir.
So tomorrow is 2 hour class.
Okay. Okay. Then I have to go. Sorry guys, I thought maybe I have 2 consecutive hour with you. No, I have another section, section F. They will be in 3:15. Okay.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Then I will check your attendance. Okay. After that, I will come back to the lecture again. Okay.
Okay,
For a
sir.
few minutes. Yeah. So this is, you are in section E, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Section E, let me get your Firoz Hussein. Firoz Hussein. Firoz Hussein, are you available? Firoz Hussein. Guys, please make sure you are putting the mute with your microphone. Muhibul Islam, Firoz Hussein is absent, so I'm going for the next. Muhibul Islam. Muhibul Islam. Muhibul Islam, are you listening? Muhib.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, all right.
Present,
Kamrul
sir.
Islam. Yes, I can hear
Yes,
you now.
sir.
Kamrul Islam. Kamrul
Yes,
Islam.
sir. Present, sir. Present.
Ajad Hassan Jim. Jim, are you connected? Ajad Hassan Jim.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm present, sir.
Okay.
Sir, Mohibul Islam is present, sir.
Done, Mohibul. I already took your attendance. Asaduzzaman Ashik.
Present, sir.
Tony Sharkar.
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Okay, Abdul Al Mamun.
Present, sir.
Sir, Asaduzzaman Ashik present, sir.
Yes, done. Dolan Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
Mehdi Hassan. Mehdi Hassan.
Yes, sir. Present, sir.
Okay, Firdaus. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Firdaus Shanta.
Shanta.
Yeah. Aisha Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
Aisha Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
Naim Alam. Naim Alam.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sabir Ahmed. Sabir Ahmed.
Yes, sir.
Said Asma Sadia.
Yes, sir.
Yak Ahmed.
Present, sir. Present, sir. Ishtiaq Ahmed.
Yeah, done, Istiak. I can see your name also, Istiak, when you are coming to say yes, sir. Mehdi Hassan Abir.
Present, sir.
Taslima Akhtar. Sorry, Humayra Afrin.
Yes, sir. Present.
Humayra Afrin, you were absent for the last 2 classes. Please do not repeat that. Okay, Taslima Akhtar.
Present, sir.
Okay, Taslima. Nusrat Jahan. Redwan Ahmed Ratul. Okay, Anik Hassan. Yes, I can see Anik Hassan. Yes, Nun Nabi. No. Okay, Bazid Sharkar.
Yes, sir.
Nazmul Islam Akanda.
Yes, sir.
Sadia Tabassum.
Yes, sir.
Shafiqul Islam.
Yes, sir.
Ithul Islam.
Yes, sir.
Ithul Islam, you were absent for the last 2 classes, right? Or
Yes,
this
sir.
is your first class?
Yes, sir.
This is your first class?
Yes, sir.
Tawfiqul Anam.
Sir, he have some network problem. He said me.
So what should I do? Should I give his attendance or should I leave him with the absent?
Sir, I don't know, but he said me as I can told you. Oh, sorry, tell you, sir.
Maybe I can write inform. Okay. So I will decide it later on. Shanjida Khandukar.
Present, sir.
Azim Ahmed.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Dola Khatun.
Yes, sir.
Siddhatul Muntaha.
Present, sir.
Siddhatul Muntaha. Okay.
Present, sir. Present, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Khadijatul Kubra.
Yes, sir.
Tamanna Tabasam.
Yes, sir.
Oshim, MD Oshim.
Present, sir.
Shahniaz Akhtar.
Sir.
Hoymonti Rani.
Present, sir.
I don't know. Fatushi Akhtar. Fatushi Akhtar.
Ferdowsi.
Is Ferdowsi. Is this correct spelling?
Yes, I write it that way.
Yes, okay. Rabab Khan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Angelina Shahli. Angelina.
She was present sometimes ago, sir. Her Wi-Fi is not stable, sir. That's
Who you are speaking? What's your name?
Sir, I am her friend, sir. Shana Akhtar.
Okay, all right, no problem. It's noted. Shaun Ahmed. No friend for Shaun. Yes, Shajib Chandra
Yes, sir.
Mandal.
Sir, Shauna Ahmed present.
You are present, Shaun?
Yes, sir.
What's wrong with for the last two classes, Shaun? You missed that. Husnara.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Ibtesam Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
Why is not finishing? It's so lengthy. Ananya Dash.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Nizum Akhtar.
Yes, sir.
AKM Tafazal Hussain Moon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sajjad Hussain.
Yes, sir.
Oof, last one. Yeah. Kamrud Jaman. Anyone else?
Sir,
Kamrud Jaman.
Hassan Jim is present.
Yes,
sir.
I know. Yes,
sir.
Ridwan Ahmed.
yes. Kamrud Jaman, are you available?
Yes, sir. I am available.
Okay.
Sir,
Now,
Ridwan
guys.
Ahmed.
Sorry. Kamrud
Ridwan
Jaman.
Ahmed, sir.
Okay. All right. Now, do
Yes,
you
sir.
want me to show you the attendance sheet?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. Then
Yes,
I'm just stopping the slide. Okay. Slide sharing. So please try to read the book, whatever we covered up to so from the next class we will start the CPU. Okay. So please give me the reminder when it's coming to us. Tomorrow we have the session.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir?
Inshallah we will
Yes, sir.
start
2
from the
hour
CPU.
class.
Yes, sir. 2-hour class.
Okay, no worry.
Tomorrow
Okay.
have 2-hour class almost.
Okay.
Will
Thank
you
you for
upload the slides?
giving me that information. Sorry.
Sir, will you upload the slides?
Yes, I do, but after completing this one, okay. But in the meantime, the chapters I have given, please try to read the chapter, okay. You have to read the chapter, then things will be easier for you. Okay, I'm just stopping this slide sharing, and as you want to see your sheet, I can just have a look at that. Section E. Slide sharing. Can you see the slide? I mean, sorry, attendance.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just absence. I'm just putting with the field color, red field color. The absent student, you can go with me. And there is another Nusrat Jahan, she is absent. And there is another one, Nun Nabi, he is also absent. And I have the inform student and inform, another inform. Yes, otherwise all you are present. So, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there should be 44. There should be 40. I don't know. So 44. One. Is there any other absent? Here's Hussein. 2, 3. Yes, here you go. Found it. Okay, guys. So this is our. Make sure no one you are absent here. Is that okay to everyone? Did you check?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm stopping this one as well. Okay. All right. Okay, I think I will say goodbye to everyone. Unless if you have any question, any questions you can ask me within next 2 minutes. If you have any.
Yes, sir. I have a question.
Yes,
So can we speed up our bus speed system?
What can you?
Can we speed up our bus speed system?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, you can increase the data transferring rate. Okay, in that case, you have to have the width of the bus, and there are some other techniques. Okay, we will see that how we can make the speed in between the processor speed and with the IO speed and with the memory speed. How system can have the balance. It is a kind of research. Still, it is a research. To make the balance among the three devices. Say if you have the super fast microprocessor, but if you have the very slow peripherals, does it make any sense? Or if you have the super fast processor, but you have the super slow memory, it doesn't make any sense, right? So that's why we have to keep the balance. So still, yes, you will learn the similar sort of things from the next chapter as well. And definitely there should be balance. Okay. Some techniques will be there. Okay. All right. Any other query?
Someone wrote something in the chat. Someone is present, was
Please
present.
give Angelina's attendance. She was present. Who is this speaking? Shahnoz. Angelina, I didn't give her attendance. Angelina, where? Yeah, I made it informed. So let's communicate with Angelina. I want to see the email from the Angelina. That what's her problem? I want to listen from her. Okay. Okay. So please ask her to write a one-line sentence that by knowing the reason. That what is the reason? So I can just adjust. Okay. All right. Any other query, guys? No.
No, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for attending to the session, and hopefully you are going to be joining tomorrow again. Okay. All right. Stay safe and have a good day to everyone.
Okay, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalam.
Take care, sir.
You
Assalamu
too.
alaikum.
Bye-bye. Alaikum assalam.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Assalamualaikum, sir.
Alaikum assalam.
Yes.